Hi guys, this is Svetlana Mandal here. I hope you guys are doing well. So this is another lesson on words. In here you are going to learn some facts about words. So please do not forget to rate, review and recommend the lesson. You can also follow me on Unacademy if you want to get hold of more such lessons. And do not forget to subscribe to YouTube channel because there you will find a variety of lessons on different subject matters which are all put up for free. Enjoy learning. Thank you. Hello everyone, I hope you guys are doing well. So this is the second lesson on words. Now in this lesson also you are going to learn some important facts about words, and in this lesson we are going to cover the few points that I had mentioned about barbarism in the previous lesson. Okay, so we are going to delve into the details about those points. Now this is the link where you will find more lessons which are prepared by me. So in case if you're interested, then you can go here and check out the other lessons that I have prepared. Now let's start with today's lesson. So the first point that we had under barbarism was archaism, right? So we are going to start this lesson by getting to know more about archaism. Now archaism means the use of words which were once upon a time current, correct and relevant, but now they have become obsolete and or are really out of vogue. Now, when you Google some word, at times you will see that next to the word there is this within the bracket it's written archaic. So these are the words which are not current. And they are like out of vogue. There was a time when they were correct and relevant, but right now in the present time they are very much out of vogue and they have become obsolete. So using these words actually leads to archaism. Now, even though words which are old are considered classic or antique, but it should be avoided at times in order to maintain the clarity of the language. So what happens is, if you use a word which is not, in the vogue right now, and people are not aware that yes, this was a word which used to exist and was very relevant in the past, what happens is when you communicate by using those words, you fail, or there is a chance of you being misunderstood, because people are not necessarily aware of these words, and it might be the case that they don't know that yeah, these are like valid words maybe. So what happens, it compromises the clarity of the language. Now, one of the main reasons which should convince us to drop archaism is relevancy. So you see, the words which were once relevant in the past may not be relevant anymore in the present time. So when you use these words in your sentences, you actually compromise the whole clarity and the whole, the dignified status of a sentence. What you do is land up messing up the sentence, and you fail to communicate, and you are often misunderstood because of it. Now, surely these words had their share of popularity, but now these words are unintelligible to a majority of the readers, and thus using these words in the expression of emotions is likely to have the effect of obscuring our language. In simple words, if you use these archaic words, what happens is people fail to understand you. So the whole point of using proper words in a sentence is to communicate better, right? But if a word is actually compromising that, then what is the use of using that word? So in simple words, that is what this whole archaism is all about. You should not use words which are out of fashion, which are archaic, okay? Because that makes your sentence sound very wrong, and you can often be misunderstood by people. Hence, it is better to avoid them. Now, therefore, we should avoid using words like whilom. Now, whilom is actually an archaic word. It's an adverb which means formally. Now, of course, if you have to talk about, you have to write a sentence where you need to use this particular you have to address this purpose of formally, and you use whilom, what happens is the person who is writing or reading the sentence fails to understand this word whilom, and the whole meaning of the sentence is just gone. Okay, it becomes very vague, and basically it doesn't even sit well in the sentence, right? And another such word is tro. Now this one is a verb which means think or believe. Holpen is a past participle of help. Beivre is actually a verb which means to divulge, reveal, or betray. Clomb is again a verb and it is a past tense and past participle of climb. Albeit is a conjunction which means though, and benison is a noun which means a blessing. Now, all these words are examples of archaic words, words which you should try and avoid using. The next point was neologism. Now, let's see what it is. Now, neologism consists in the coining of new words or the use of words recently coined by others. Now, this is the time, the modern age is actually the time where you will find words, new words being, coined every day. Like if suddenly you will see, this is the age of trending, right? So what happens is, you wake up in the morning and you go and visit Facebook maybe, and then you see suddenly the world is talking about a particular word and it is trending, and then suddenly it becomes a word. Now people are using the word. Now what you need to keep something in your mind. Like I always say that English is a very flexible language, so you need to understand that it's one thing to talk to people in a funky way and then have an edge to it, and for these purposes you can use these words, the newly recently coined words. It sounds very fun, okay? But when it comes to formal speeches and debate competitions or composition writing or writing a research paper, you should always avoid these kind of words, because they actually compromises your whole sentence, and the way you talk, it actually steals away clarity from the sentence. So that is where you should avoid using these words, the newly coined words. So we should try and avoid using words like aliveness, burglarize, literask, and so on. The new word, says Dr. Murray, is apt to die almost as soon as it is born, ashamed of its own newness, ashamed of the italics or inverted commas, which apologizes for its very existence or questions its legitimacy. Once again, I would like to point it out that these new words have their own purposes. If you are talking to your friends, it's not necessary that you cannot use these words. You can definitely use these words for informal speeches, because it definitely gives your sentence an edge. But when case of formal speeches and writings, you should definitely avoid these words, because there is a whole question of legitimacy. There is a whole question that whether these words are even legit or not, okay? But sometimes words that are coined by famous writers such as tongue-stir, used by Tennyson, which refers to a talkative person, selfless, synonym of unselfish, solidarity, unity of communion, of interest and responsibilities, altruism, devotion to others, became popular over the years. Now, these are some things that this is another thing that you need to keep in mind. You will often see writers and poets quoting or coining words, okay? So, in the following chapters, you will realize what I'm trying to say. So it's like you have to keep this thing in your mind, okay? Like when writers and poets coin words, what happens is over the years, overuse of these words make these words legit words, okay? And people start using them. If not legit, they become immensely popular. Okay. Now, another way by which new words are introduced are through new innovations. So this point is actually a way how new words are introduced. And this one is the second way. The new innovations are the second way how new words are introduced. So, for example, aviation. The word aviation came because of an innovation. Air condition, once again, it came because of the air conditioners that we have, that we use. It was invented, and hence this whole word came into existence. the question arises, when do we use these new words then? Because first I started saying that we should avoid using newly coined words, right? And then again I said that these new words often become famous. So when do we know that yes, it is the right time that we should start using this newly coined word? So it is important to keep in mind that these new words can definitely be used, but the issue of concern here is when. So these words should be used slowly. We should gradually adopt these in our compositions until they have finally passed into general literary use. So as long as you're speaking informally, you can definitely use coined words like I have mentioned already, but when it comes to formal writing, you need to wait for it. You need to wait for someone to use it, okay? Like, because some writers, some poets to actually use them in their works, use these newly coined words in their words, and that's how it becomes popular. People start using it. The whole point is that, why you have to wait for it is because you do not want to sound very vague, because if you use a word which is not in the vogue and it's newly coined, people have no idea. So what is the use of writing such words or including such words in your sentences, because you will fail to communicate with people. The next one is foreign words. Now, no writer should unnecessarily introduce into his composition words from foreign languages. I'm pretty sure that you guys have noticed that in novels you will see at times the writer writes something from a foreign language, a word from a foreign language, and it's in italics, right? So it should not be done if it's not necessary. So you will see that writers never do it if it's not necessary. There are, it is true, some occasions where the use of words are justifiable. For example, when no such English suitable words exist for the description of foreign objects, customs, or expresses our idea more exactly than the corresponding English one. Like I said, you will see writers using these foreign words only when it's absolutely necessary. But a careless or unnecessary displacing of a native word by a foreign word of the same sense should by all means be avoided. If you have an exact translation of this foreign word in English, then you should definitely avoid using the the foreign word, okay? We should therefore avoid using words like sans, cultus, then literature. Entourage is a word which is now a part of common language. We use this word, right? So these are the few example of words which you should try avoid using in your regular English writings. So that was it for today's lesson. In the next lesson also we will continue talking about words. If you have any doubt, definitely do ask me. Please take care of yourself, and thank you for staying with me till the end.